Jim? I apologize.
Welcome to Bright Horizons with
Deb, Koalala, and Jim
Jim
Chiappi.
Coffee.
Good afternoon. Not good morning, everybody, but we're here.
So nice to see all of you.
Yes, indeed. Oh, my. I'll tell you what.
You might realize
It is one of those things to where,
we look a little different today. We're not in the same locale. We got telephones ringing.
Telephones and everything going on. And it is a Monday. Happy, magnificent Monday, everybody.
Yes.
Well, I'm getting used to the StreamYard. We had our guest, my Aunt Betty, on with us last week, and she enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it. It was a wonderful learning experience. And it's
very inspiring.
Wasn't she fabulous? Yes.
Having her come back as a guest.
Absolutely. I know she had said the same exact thing. So yes, indeed. But
got some birthdays to talk about.
Let's start. I mean, I have a few, Jim. I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, today is Rob Russell. He's a local celebrity in the area. They call him Mr. Palm Beach because he used to, for I think 20 years, he was the host of the Royal Room at the Colony Hotel.
No, I was just remembering that. You're absolutely right. Wow.
And he booked all the entertainment there. But he actually is a performer now. He sings locally. So we want to wish Rob a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rob.
And then on Wednesday, Jody White. Do you know Jody White from the street?
Yes, she's on my list as well. Happy birthday, Jody, on the 19th. Right?
Yes. And Val Oliva is this week. She's a dear friend. Val, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Marsha Wolf, Alicia Bonato, and Cam Kirkwood. They're all on Thursday. Imagine that.
Thursday. Okay. All Thursday birthday babies.
And last week, our dear friend Maria Fresnetto, we had her birthday.
Yes.
And Nellie Melander. I know you follow her on Facebook.
Yes, she's a lovely lady. Nellie, happy birthday. In fact, yes. My goodness.
And Danny Poulos. Happy birthday, Danny. And then John Nugent. Want to wish him a happy birthday.
John Nugent, I have him on the list as well. Well, with that being said, I only have two left. Caitlin Gomez. Did you have any more, Jim? I'm sorry. I don't want to.
But you can mention yours.
Caitlin Gomez is a daughter of my dear friend Nancy. She has her birthday on the 20th. Happy birthday. And also a new beautiful baby girl.
Oh, exciting.
Yes, so a lot to celebrate there. And then there's Debbie Leslie, who used to be Greg's nurse when he had his second knee surgery. Debbie, I know from time to time you do follow us, so happy birthday. I'll never forget the care you took of Greg, and neither will he. A lot of work with that physical therapy. You were a wonderful nurse and still are, always will be. Very genuine, very caring. I do have a happy note, but a sad note. I shouldn't say sad. We have a special person in my family, my Aunt Lydia, whose birthday is the 18th, and that's tomorrow. She unfortunately is going through some tremendous health crisis, and
we'll pray for Aunt Lydia.
We have to pray for her because it's been up and down. It's been a very, very long battle. It's really at this point in our Lord's hands, and we keep our faith, and we know that it will be okay either way. But happy birthday, Aunt Lydia. We love you so much. We're sorry you're going through what you're going through. And I know it's been an uphill struggle for not just for you, for the whole family. But we believe in our faith, and we're going to just keep that faith in motion.
Yes.
Absolutely. So it's never easy, but we hang on to our faith.
And on June 14th, I just wanted to mention, back in when I was 5 years old, I was the ring bearer for my cousin Nancy's wedding.
Wow.
And she watches the Bright Horizons show. So I want to acknowledge the many years of anniversaries that she and her husband had celebrated before he passed. But that it was Flag Day also, June 14th. So I always remember the anniversary.
That's right. Yeah, my goodness gracious, Flag Day.
So It was a very special time when I was the ring bearer for my cousin.
That is special.
I've told this story before, but they didn't trust me with the ring on the pillow.
They did.
There was a ring on the pillow, but it wasn't the real one. So I carried it down. But then years later, I was told that they actually didn't have that ring on the pillow.
That's cute. What a cute story to always recognize. It's adorable. Let me tell you, the ring bearers make a difference in the flower girls. Oh, yes. The flower.
Were you ever a flower girl?
No, no, I never was. No, no. My
Bridesmaid?
yeah, absolutely bridesmaid several times, sure, but never a flower girl. They're so darling to watch them. They get so excited, and there they are with the little ring bearer holding the pillow
Yes.
and very, very, very serious, and
Yes.
walking down the aisle. And then you get the flower girl, and she's throwing the flower. It's so beautiful to
A
see.
lot of responsibility at a
Yeah,
young age.
young little, oh, adorable little soul. They're so
Yes.
cute, very, very cute.
But
Well,
that brings us to our topic today.
yeah.
Be
I
a good listener.
Be a good listener. What did I tell you the other day? I called Jim, and I had stopped over at Public Supermarket to pick up a couple of odds and ends, mainly for my husband's one of his medications. But I had to wait, and while I was waiting, was a gentleman next to me waiting. He had his cart filled, and he also had a service dog, which was adorable, and it reminded me of a cockapoo, the dog that we had. Oh, we've had, I should say. We've always had cockapoos, Greg and I. So anyway, one thing led to another. I didn't say where. I just said, "Oh, how cute your dog is," and the response I got from this dog was amazing. It was just so happy, jumping on me, and here he is saying, "No, no, no, don't jump." Then before too long, I was. I just thought it was amazing because he had a lot to say. I heard his whole life story about how he got the dog and how he's got cats now and how, he spent the money on the food. He even showed me, which I thought was really nice. I mean, this is the need. And he said, I want to show you what I bought for the cats and the brand name and what he makes for his dogs. Not necessarily dog food, but, he had to tell me about the chicken and the rice. And I completely get that because I do that, or I did that, I should say, myself many, many times.
Right.
They ate better than Greg and I. So, our little love buckets. But anyway, so again, he went on about his daughter and about his political beliefs. And oh my goodness gracious, he went on and on. So I realized the time was getting ahead of us and I had to finally get Greg's medicine. And I said, well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. And he looked up at me and he says, well, thank you so much for listening. He says, most people wouldn't listen to me because I probably talked your ear off. I said, no. I said, it was enjoyable hearing what you had to say. He said, well, thank you, because I kind of needed to. And I sensed that. I felt it. And
right.
I didn't I felt guilty getting up to go get my medicine, Greg's medicine, but I had to go,
God bless you for doing that. Yes.
And I just looked at him. I said, oh, it's been a pleasure. He said, thank you. He said, have a good day. I said, you as well. I said, stay safe. I said, enjoy the dog. I said, just know that he loves you. And anyway, that was it. So I get into the car. I'm thinking to myself, that man really needed to expand. You could tell he had to let it all go. And he was frustrated. And I said to myself, this is more the case than not in today's world,
He probably doesn't have many friends.
Right. And it dawned on me and I thought, well, gee, a great topic. Be a good listener.
Yes.
And there's nothing like it because you realize that you did make a difference in that person's life by just being there. No matter what it was, you were there, and they felt better because they had someone to listen to them.
Right. And I was thinking when you mentioned the birthdays, was her name Debbie Leslie?
Yes, Debbie Leslie.
Being a nurse, the patient needs to listen to the medical personnel. And sometimes we don't want to listen because we think we have preconceived notions about what is transpiring. But it's so important to be a good listener when you're speaking with a medical practitioner.
Absolutely, Jim. And you pinpointed that beautifully, and that's so spot on because, as you said, at the moment, we're trying to comprehend exactly what is going on, what is going to take place, or what may take place, what may not take place, whatever it may be. And you've had your mind, I know with me, throughout the operations that Greg has had, I found it to be very overwhelming. And I was taking notes. God knows how many notebooks I had, the prescriptions and everything else. But that's just me being detailed and, trying to get it together and remaining as organized as possible. But also not interrupting,
Yes.
I've noticed, that that's a really big plus. And, you don't start complaining, just listen. Don't reiterate right away. Do you agree with that?
Yes, very much so.
Because I think and again, more than not, I am guilty. I've done it. Do not impose your opinions, let's say, so readily and so anxiously because, we all have opinions.
Right.
Be a good, what does they say? That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Yes.
2 ears and one mouth. Okay, listen, stay focused, right, Jim? Stay focused.
So those proportions would say 2/3 listening and 1/3 speaking. When you
Yeah.
2 ears and one mouth.
That's
I was also thinking about, and I think we've discussed this before, when you meet people and they tell you their name.
Yes.
So often we don't really listen and we forget the name. So there's a technique that's been discussed about when someone says, "Hello, Deb, I'm Jim," that the best way to respond is, "Hello, Jim. It's nice to meet you, Jim," and mention the name at least 5 times if you can in a short period of time, and you'll retain it more.
That makes perfect sense to me. Hi, Jim. Nice to meet you, Jim. Reiterate. Keep saying it so it sticks in your mind, because with that, and I am just, it's so embarrassing too when you see somebody, you meet somebody, you remember their face, and it's so frustrating. I do not like not remembering names, because everybody likes to be called by their name.
And then you can associate the name with something else. So let's say you said you're Deborah Colalella, and I start to think of Coca-Cola, and so I might remember your last name also. But like if I said my name is James, you might think James Bond or some association that'll make you remember the name.
Right. Some association to correlate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A strong, effective management with communication, and it's really, we're all so different, so it doesn't always work for all of us. We try. We really do try.
But it's embarrassing when you meet someone and then you forget the name. So.
They have workshops on that too.
Yes.
To avoid that, to have the better communication. I would if anything, I'm trying to focus on a couple of different things right now in my life, personally speaking. And unfortunately, this happens quite often in busy settings with myself. I'm so anxious to express how I feel. So I do overlap, and I have to back it up. And I'm not ashamed to say that. That's just me. I mean, I remember the show we did, A Train Even Stops. My father used to joke me all. Yeah. He was funny, though. He was a character. And he'd say, "Deb, even a train stops." He was so funny, and he meant it in such a loving way. And it was just him. It contributes to your personality, and it's who you are. But if you know somebody, a family member, a good friend, it's important to be loved, but it's so much more profound and important to be understood.
Yes. And thinking about this topic, I have a lot of senior clients. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, they have less and less relatives and friends, because naturally a lot of them are passing. Right. So if you know someone who's a senior, it's so important to take the time to either call them or have contact with them, because they need that. We all need that human interaction. And they're receiving less as time goes on.
Right.
So please keep in mind that if you know seniors who are by themselves, they've lost their spouse,
right,
their loved ones, those phone calls or visits are very important for them.
That's so very, very true too, Jim, because and time does march on, and it's such a good feeling when you hang up the phone too. And I find myself, I'm so old school that way. I like to pick up that notebook. I like to pick up that birthday card or that anniversary card or whatever card it may be, just to say hello. Even though technology is what it is, and we're in a whole different direction, a whole different world, so be it. But that doesn't mean we have to change what matters, because it does matter getting that card and picking up the phone. I'd rather actually have a phone call than a text, honestly. And I'd much rather have a letter in the mail than an email.
Email, right.
Absolutely. That's just me. That is just me. And I don't impose my opinions or solutions on every. It's just me. It's just the way I feel.
And we can learn so much from our seniors, that the wisdom that they have, like Marie Pinchmet, we love our Marie.
We love Marie.
But the wisdom that she imparts upon us, and when we're with her, the feeling that we get, the beautiful sharing her life with us, and the many beautiful years that she's been on earth, you can learn so much. I love that aspect of it. Although we can learn from all of our relatives and friends, but seniors in particular have a lot of experiences to share.
Yes, and it's enjoyable, very enjoyable to hear them and to listen.
Yes.
Quite frankly, I've learned much more as I get older through this, seniors I've known in my lifetime. And I have a neighbor, as a matter of fact. She's lovely. She's a doll, and she reminds me so much of my aunt, who I had in Washington, D.C. I have an Aunt Nancy who I'm very close with, and she is, I mean, talk about being a replica. She could be a cousin or maybe a twin even. The attitude, the same height, the same gestures, everything is ironic. So I truly felt that that was a sign when I met her. And
Right.
I spoke to my Aunt Nancy last night, as a matter of fact. And we was talking, and I was saying, my neighbor, every time I say her, I see her, she's like waving, "Hi, how are you?" Just like my aunt would do. And come over, if she was in close, distance, she'd come running over. Oh, and she'd give me this big hug. I mean, where does that happen? So it's definitely a sign. It's definitely an interaction with people. The soul entwines with others, with others. Most definitely, everything is everything. Everything is connected, spiritual wise, and it's a very good thing for our psychic minds too. Our psychic mind is very important to hang on to everything being connected.
That's a beautiful thought. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes, no, you have to, keep in mind, more so again than not, I am seeing lonely elderly people, and it breaks my heart, Jim, because as I said, going into Publix, that one gentleman, I would have spent more time with him, but I really and truly had to go home to Greg. He needed his medicine. And I mean, I spent a great deal of time, and if I could, I would have, believe me. That's just the person I am. My heart felt so heavy for him, but then I felt good. I said, you know what? He's going to be okay.
Yeah.
He's a strong individual who spoke his mind, and he seemed very, he just needed to talk. And I see that more often, though. And it's just, sometimes I'll even walk into a supermarket or to a doctor's office, for that, say, anywhere. It could be a restaurant. It could be anywhere. But hi, how are you? I always, a smile on my face, because I don't know what that person is going through at the moment. If I saw them smile, hey, be a good listener, be a good communicator, of course, but be a good listener. By that smile, guess what? She or he listened to my reaction, what I had said.
Right.
Does that make sense? So they know. I mean, they mean even a dog, a cat. I mean, every spiritual being on this planet Earth. Think about the emotions that we share and care with one another, and how they're picked up vibrantly.
Studies have shown that we retain about 20% of what we hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's more in the context of learning experiences. So it's so important to try to increase that 20% to a higher level naturally, because imagine losing 80%. You don't retain 80%.
I know.
I would encourage people to find ways, either in your brain, to try to repeat something that someone's saying to you, or if you have paper and pen at hand, to take notes and then refresh your recollections about that particular conversation.
I don't know if I love that point that you just made, because all of a sudden it brought my mind back to my good old school days in Catholic school. If I were to get in trouble, which I was a pretty good student, but there were times I was a bad girl, and I did talk a lot in school.
You're kidding, you?
I did. I did get caught chewing gum, which I still love chewing gum. And of course, Catholic school was Catholic school when I was growing up. And I mean, I'm not to say it's not now, but it's completely different.
Right.
And I remember I had an assignment, and it was my duty to sit down and write 100 times, "I will not speak in class. I will not talk out in class, or I will not chew gum in class." And God, there I was. And I had to do it whether she said 50 times or 100 times, it was done. So what you just said correlated in my mind to that. Isn't that funny?
Did you keep that? Do you still have it?
I have a lot. Yes, I have that. You'd be amazed. I've been saved my dresses when I was a young girl. I mean, I have so many things I've saved. My first Timex watch, maybe I'm so too sentimental, but I just, it means a lot, anything that was given to me. So yes, believe it or not, I've kept a lot of schoolwork, and I'm afraid to get rid of it, because I feel like it's a part of me. Does that say, not afraid, but it's so much a part of me. Why would I? Eventually I'm going to have to, get rid of a lot of different things, but that's something I chose not to at this point in time anyway.
And then another aspect that I was thinking about is prayer, and peaceful time is when the Lord is communicating with you, and vice versa. So it's so important to be a listener and sets time aside for prayer and meditation.
Prayer, yes, every day.
Be a good listener in that respect.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I'd like to, Jim, if it's okay, I was looking at a prayer for healing prior to us beginning the show. And it's because just my Aunt Lydia, what she's going through,
Right.
and everybody in the world is going through something around this. So if I may, I'd like to read it.
Yes.
This short prayer for healing, and it's very, very important that I say it. I don't know what our Lord has in mind for our Aunt Lydia, but she will be okay either way. And for all of you who are going through anything at this time of your life, whatever the situation may be, this is for you and healing. And may our Lord hear you, and may this make you feel better. Heavenly Father, you are intimately aware of our struggles. We are experiencing the pain and the despair. You know the desire of our hearts to be healed of this illness, of our illnesses. We ask now for your healing touch. We know that you are able to, and that just like in the Bible, times you can heal us. Heavenly Father, hear our prayer. We love you. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
We all know people that need that healing prayer.
Absolutely. And I truly, truly felt that. So may God turn and work his miraculous powers for all of us in need. So I just felt the need to say that. Now, Jim, I wanted to also tell you, I happened to go through our list of shows since we started Bright Horizons. Bright Horizons show with Deb and Jim, which started January the 15th, 2021.
Yeah.
What I did was I calculated the amount of shows. Do you realize with this show today, with our show right this moment, it's 111 shows.
Wow.
That we have broadcasted live Facebook, and of course now it's stream living when we cannot be live. 111 shows. I'm so proud of us, and I love every one of our topics, Jim. I have to scan you the list. I just updated actually yesterday. It was yesterday.
Terrific. Thank you.
So yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I think it's 4,440 minutes, something like that, on the basis of like a 40-minute show. So
it's been such a beautiful experience with you, Deb.
It has been with you, Jimmy. You kidding as well.
We want to remind our listeners, viewers, that we wanted to provide some inspiration at the time of the pandemic. Yes. And that's why we developed the concept of Bright Horizons, to share with you positive topics and thoughts and inspiration. So we hope we've been successful in doing that with everyone.
Absolutely. It's brought me so much delight. It's brought you so much delight. And our guest, we couldn't ask for better guests. And it's every time we do a show, I'm so delighted. It makes my day. I know that. And I know it's just, it's Bright Horizons couldn't pick a better name, Jim.
That's right.
Pick a better name. Let's horizon. Oh my God. Let's brighten our horizons. Let's make it brighter each and every day and every moment that we can while we have these moments in time. So yeah, absolutely. So being a good listener.
Also about being a good listener. When you meet people, like sometimes in a networking situation where you're meeting a lot of people and you're networking, it's important to remember then to be a good listener, because these people that you're meeting are telling you about themselves.
Yes.
You want to learn about it. Now, if you're distracted or whatever, you're not going to really absorb it and then retain what that person might have to offer. And then you can offer what your career is or what your path is.
That's a very good point.
That interaction with the other person.
Right. Very good points.
So it's important to listen to them, extract information, and they'll appreciate it because they want to share what they have to offer in that environment, wherever they might be.
Excuse me, what did you just say? Just a point being made. I listen to every word, and you're so spot on. So thank you for sharing that. That is so true, because we meaning anybody can ramble on. So it's very important. So thank you so much for bringing that up, because we need each other. It's important for us to feel needed, to feel wanted. So that was beautiful. You just said, Jim. Beautiful.
And I know at most churches after their services, they have a social hour or whatever. And that's a good time to meet the other parishioners in the church, and also to share what's going on in our lives with each other. And you can help other people just by listening in those situations too.
Right. And That is what a difference a day makes in so many ways.
Yes.
Many ways.
And I notice in my profession as an attorney, I naturally I have to listen. I meet with a client and I'm listening, I'm obtaining all this information and then deciding what the remedies. I use the Juris Doctor,
I love that.
prescribing remedies, but evaluating the situation to see if I can help them, first of all. Do they really need an attorney? Maybe there are other ways they can resolve a situation. And then evaluating it. So it's that give and take, listening to them, providing my analysis, and then their response to that. That interaction is so important, as with any career. Same thing with you and your staff that you interact with. There's that give and take in any particular situation.
Right. And also not jumping to conclusions.
Right. That's important.
That is so very vital because it's you have to stop. I know with what I do, I like how you just said that. It may be a situation that is presented to you in such a way. Maybe it was by a tone of voice that was used. Let's just do it.
Right.
It was by someone's tone of voice, or say it was by the way something was handed to you, or maybe it was thrown at you.
Or body language, right?
Body language. Every little thing counts for every action is a reaction, right? Yeah. So, here we go. And we have to stop. So what I've learned to do, what I'm still continuing to learn to do, and I think it's very vital, it's very important for me, because there was a time I remember I'd be so sensitive saying, well, gee, why? But no, I stop myself and I say, wait a second now. Why, how, when, and why? Those are the three. Just stop and think of it. If you stop and think, then don't forget the moment a word comes out of your mouth, it becomes cutting. And then once a cutting word comes out, it's too late to take it back.
Yes.
So you do not want to assume. You don't want to, by any means whatsoever, hurt anybody intentionally or not. It's a whole obstacle of scenarios that could be, would be, could have, would have, should have, doesn't matter. The bottom line is try to stop it before you start it, just evaluate it rather than if that makes more sense. I guess evaluate it makes more sense. And just remember, do unto others as you want done to you. If you don't want it done to you, then don't do it to somebody else. I guess you can clarify it that way, right?
Yeah.
So simple, easy peasy. Yeah. But
sometimes we forget these pearls of wisdom, that we
do, because life happens quickly.
Yes.
And it does, and nothing is done intentionally. Sometimes maybe it is. Okay, we'll rise above that. But even if it is, take the high road and realize that if you know that individual and you know where their heart's at, that's really what it's all about. But need to take time to know the individual, and even if you make the time, just say, okay, well, that's not that person that I know. There's a reason why it's happening, or what have you. So. Yeah, absolutely. I love this topic. You can go on and on about this. I mean, there's just so much to be said. According to the Bible, God encourages people to be good listeners. We all know that, as you had alluded to before.
Often the Lord would say, hear my word, or,
Right. We're also quick to listen, but slow to speak, right?
Right.
Yeah. And slow to get angry. So, just suggest yourself into your inner soul, your inner mind, just to take a deep breath, take a step back, and then proceed. And then if you want to scream, go into a closet or something. I just know.
And people like you who have psychic abilities, that's important too. You have to have a quiet time to hear, whoever's communicating or what's communicating with you.
That's a touchy topic, Jim. It's funny you should say that, because when you do encounter that period in your mind, you do need, more so than ever, the quiet time, because there's so much that evolves in your mind, and it's downright exhausting mentally, to the point where I'd rather have physical exhaustion than to have the mental exhaustion, because of the psychic mind turning in its own realm, in its way that needs to be controlled by you as an individual. And if you don't know how to do that, that could become very scary. So you need to be able to adjust it and reclaim it and know how to deal with it. Otherwise, it will not work. Otherwise, they're not issues, but it could be very, very daunting. I guess very.
Right.
scary, whatever, yeah, whatever word you choose to use. But the quiet time is imperative, imperative, imperative. And I can go on about that. I could say that, write that 500 times. That's how imperative it is. It's extremely imperative.
And with technology nowadays, we have less of that quiet time. So it's so important to set aside time to be quiet and meditate or pray.
Right.
Get away from the distractions of the telephones and all the other communications.
I will not watch the news when I get home. I love how you just said that. I will not watch the news. Not that I don't watch the news. I do most certainly. I most certainly do. I need to know what's going on, but I can only take so much of it. And I get very upset. I have to walk away.
Right.
I don't, it's just, it's my option. And I pay attention on other realms, but I just, you need to take the time for definitely prioritize. And I thought to myself, how did we as young kids do encyclopedias? Remember that?
Yes.
Did school reports. My goodness gracious, how in the world? I remember my mother collecting all of them and having a beautiful, gorgeous gorgeous set of encyclopedias, and just helping us and taking out the books that were needed at that time of a school report. And that was time consuming.
Now they do it all on the phone or on the computer.
But you want to know something, Jim? Speaking about being a good listener.
Right.
And I'll end it at this, because as far as this goes, you're right. We all love it. Let's face it. We are addicted. Let's face that too. We have no choice. It's our world. But I've learned, like, say I go to a doctor's office, and I've said this to Greg, I have yet to see anybody sitting there looking straight ahead at the TV that's on in the room, or reading a magazine, or just,
right.
It's always like this, looking down at their phone.
Yes.
And I get so upset when I see that. So I do not do that. I will not go into a restaurant and my phone goes off. Greg's phone goes off.
I'm with you. I agree with you. Yes.
I do not understand that. We do enough of that. Put it down. Breathe. Stop. The phone is controlling your life. Be a good listener. Here we go. Be a good observer. And by being a good listener, you have to be a good observer to start.
Right. Right.
So there's nothing that irritates me more, and I have to use that word irritate because it certainly does. I'm sorry, I just said it, and it's just too late.
Well, I've said that before, and I don't remember if I mentioned it on the show. I've written it in my newspaper column that I've walked into doctors' offices or any situation that everybody's looking down. They're not even aware what's going on around them.
Exactly.
Someone could come in with a gun, and they won't even look from.
Oh my God!
And know that they're in danger.
You're so right. What then? God forbid. Yeah. Oh my God. It's mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. And, and I've seen, unfortunately, elderly people who are doing it, and they're tripping while they're doing it. I'm like, oh, dear God, if they fall. I'm sorry, it's your own fault. Are you paying attention?
Right.
I've seen people walk into walls. It's not even fun. I'm laughing a little bit because it's.
Well, in Manhattan, people are walking down the street looking at their phones. It's ridiculous.
How do you pay? How do you? I don't get it.
Crossing the street. Imagine crossing the street.
I know, right?
At a traffic light with cars coming. It's beyond me. But we want to all be good listeners.
Yes, let's be good listeners. Be good observers. Hey, we need to do that. We need to help each other. Technology is only going to keep growing in leaps and bounds, people.
That's right.
So
I have a couple of things I wanted to read from my dear Marie Pinchman, Out of My Mind and Into Your Heart. These are a few lines from a poem, but I love this. Give me soft, sweet music, voices that blend. Beautiful. Give me quiet, moving waters and a calm, gentle wind. Give me peace and contentment in moments of grace. Give me sounds that whisper in some quiet place. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
And then this other one, this is called In Some Quiet Place. In a world filled with noise more than I can bear, I search for quiet, a time to be aware of wind in the trees and wide open spaces. I'm in tune with nature in my own quiet place.
Lovely. In tune with nature. There you go. That's a mouthful right there.
You want to be a listener of nature too, right?
Right.
Birds singing, the wind rustling through the tree. It's such beautiful experiences you lose if you're not really aware you're staring at your phone and not paying attention to nature.
Exactly. And if I see somebody in the pool with the phone, I'll be darned. I've
Oh my God, yes.
I've yet to see that, but if I do, I mean, that'll be it for me. I'll be like, that's it.
I've seen, some people will exercise by walking the length of the pool, and I've seen someone with the phone in his hand doing that. I couldn't believe it. It's ridiculous.
Aren't they afraid they're going to drop it in the pool?
No. Plus, the whole benefit of the exercise is to be walking at a pace. You don't want to be distracted by a phone. Crazy.
Could you imagine? When we grew up, we had the phones attached to the wall. We had the phones. Oh my gosh! And when the big cell phones came out, they were big and humongous. They were fun.
Yes,
they
like
were
a brick.
I just love it. Technology is fun. It's amusing and it's fun, and
But it has its place, right?
It has its place.
And don't let it interfere with you being a good listener.
Right. I love that. Bingo.
What a difference a day makes.
What a difference a day makes.
The tambourine there.
I have it, Jim. I wouldn't do well. I think there's maybe one show out of the many shows we've done. All 111 shows.
Let's hear it. Oh, I hear it. What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. With the sun and the flowers.
Where there used to be rain. What a difference a day makes. And
the difference is you and you and all of you.
What a difference you all make in our lives. I'll tell you, I love our shows so much.
Yes.
And I'm on and on. And I thank you, Jim, for being a part of this all these years. And I hope and pray the Lord that we can continue, and we will continue, because it touches my heart and soul. I know it does with you as well. And we love our audience, and we really implore all of you to, send us messages as you've been doing in text.
Yes, we love it.
We
share with others, please.
Share, absolutely. Share means care. Caring means sharing. It's all the same.
And remember to keep
your horizons
bright.
Mwah. We love you all.
Love you all.
Until next time, we don't know if we'll be back StreamYarding or live Facebook.
Live.
We are here for you, and we love you all. Take good care, everybody. Until next time.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.